Okay, so I found a 20K resistor. We don't have a 22, but considering what's in there is 800 instead of 22, I'm sure a 20K is a big improvement. So yes, put this one in here. Now I'm going to be replacing this to the same terminal as this, so I think I'll remove this. Yeah. Just see if I can give you a little better view here. Now I'll get my hand chopping tripod out of here. There we go. Okay. See if I can get the old lead wires off the terminal now. There we go. That came off a little easier than I would have expected. But they probably, there was a piece of wire, they probably were tacked on. When you do this kind of work, often the situation is you just can't get wires twisted around each other. You just can't make a good mechanical connection before you solder. So you end up making a bad mechanical connection. Sometimes you're just laying things across each other and soldering it. And I know I do that from time to time. I try not to. But from time to time you just can't help it. What is in behind there? Oh, there's a mica cap right in behind there, which I'm not intent on changing at all. Appears to be nothing else on that terminal. So after I've done a few changes here, we'll have to test the radio. Make sure I haven't bonkered it. Okay, so this was a 0.1, wasn't it? Yeah, 0.1. So we'll get 0.1 here. And where is it going? All the way over there. Well, it'll just make it. Well, actually, I can come off one of these. I can come off here. But these capacitors, a little bit inexpensive, but the leads are short on them. You know, they're really intended for more modern electronics and going into circuit boards. You know, I'm going to be replacing this thing. Oops. You're not quite seeing the action here. I'm just about to solder onto here, and I'm thinking about replacing this. Well, I think it's going to have to do for now. If I have to redo it later, so be it. I just can't have so many parts out at the same time, or I'm running such a risk of making a mistake here. Oh, that solder really doesn't like the old wire. It got on there, but okay, that'll make it though. Yep. As soon as I melted the solder, the wire I stuffed on there just fell right off. That's no good. That's no good there. That's even worse. Son of a gun. Terrible when you're trying to move forward and you end up going backwards. Okay, let's see what happens when I heat this up. And it's not very good. Now I can finish off the other end of these resistors if I can get these wires back on the terminal. Oh, I'm going to replace these two also. So I shouldn't bother connecting this quite yet. Oh man, that's just one thing's leading to another here, a little too quick for me. Next guy to do would be this capacitor right in the bottom here. Get rid of it. Goes to ground. comes off of this terminal, the second, the other really heavily soldered terminal. Okay. There he goes. What is he? 0.1 100 volt capacitor. Oh my gosh, there's a total hole in it right there. Total hole in the end of it there. And, 0.1. Another 0.1. And this guy wants to go to ground. There's lots of opportunities to go to ground. Why would I want to go way up in there? He says. Because that's right on the chassis, and soldering to the chassis ground. Ooh, big blob of solder there. There we go. Soldering to the chassis ground is tough. Why don't I go to this terminal right here? Which is right next to this terminal. Why wouldn't I do that? It's soldered right to the chassis right here. I think that's good. I think I'm going there. But first, I've got to draw some of the solder away from this connection. These two terminals on this terminal strip are like so close together here that and this resistor is practically buried in there. Holy smokes. This will be an all-day project right here, just doing these couple of just doing this little area. Yeah, well, you can't expect to do these things without putting time into it. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of some of the solder here. I'm going to try anyway. Ooh, I got a good chunk of it that time. Yeah, so much I can't even get it out of my... I choked my solder sucker. Yeah. There we go. Okay, she's good for another shot here. I did get a lot of the solder on the last one. Now let's take a close look at that. One of the things that's happening is as I change the components with these little tiny versions of the old ones, more and more daylight's getting down into this radio. I'm seeing more and more. So now that looks quite a schmozzle there, doesn't it? It is a schmozzle. So these are the two terminals I've been working on. There's two terminals here. This terminal is just about shorted to this one. They're so close in here. And I got these loose wires hanging around that goes to some capacitors I'm going to change, and there's this high voltage wire here. They all got to get onto that one terminal together. But it's really this terminal I'm working on right now. And you know, when you're looking at this on camera, of course, you're not seeing 3D, so it's really hard to pick it apart visually. And it looks like the lead from this resistor comes up and around, and that's it there. And this yellowish resistor, which is practically buried under the solder here before I sucked it away. They go to the same place. I don't want to really replace those guys unless there's a reason. And what about this piece of wire here? And it's all frozen in there with solder, so and I want to run a 0.1 from this terminal over to this terminal. That shouldn't be too hard to do. I think that will work and look pretty good. Oh yeah. I'm saying oh yeah because a resistor lead, the one that kind of wrapped around there, just popped completely loose. I'm just gonna try and slip that through there. Oh, bingo! Very good. Great connection there. Should I solder that? I think maybe I should, because I think that's all that's on there. Hopefully that'll melt the solder into a nice neat deal too. And reconnect that resistor that came loose. There we go. Okay, camera, don't fall off now. Ooh. Now you got a better view than I have. No, I guess they're about equal at this point. This is a grounded terminal right here. Get the wire through it too. Excellent. Solder that guy there. Even though I see a capacitor. Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. Back off. Ugly capacitor down there. Underneath there. So hold on. Hold the fort. Hold the fort here. As nice as that was, we'll have to pull it aside for now. Deal with that. dust right in here. I can't quite see where that guy's going, but I'm pretty sure it goes to this terminal here. Where else could it go? Ugh, don't like to do that. Just trying to make a positive identification as to where this is going. Yeah. Okay, so that's where that lead is definitely going. Let's nip it out of there. Oh, another totally shot one here. Now there's actually a long lead on this, which goes, oh boy. The long lead is going way down. It's really hard to see. It's coming down here. You can't see it from your angle at all. There it is. So it's this black wire, this nice looking black wire. Where is it connecting to? It looks like it's connecting, I'd say, to this one here. There's nothing getting down here. And isn't that a ground terminal right there? Is that what that is? A grounded terminal? Looks like it must be. Oh yeah, I can see the ground wire. The ground dead wire. Oh man. From that terminal there is a wire that goes to the shields. The shields on some wires that come from the volume control. Well, okay. Let me nip it here. I hope that was the capacitor that I cut. Out it comes, it's another piece of junk. Oh. Yeah. And what is it? This is a little bit smaller. Come on, show me how big you are. I don't want to. I have to track this down on the schematic again. Made in Canada. Foil end. It's so dry, you know. Sometimes you can scrape the wax off and read the words underneath. 100 volts. That looks like 0.01 is coming up. Yep. That makes sense for the size of it. So 0.01. .01 with long leads. I don't have a long leaded .01. I have about 400 capacitors on order. Going to come in a couple days. But in the meantime, I gotta fish this capacitor down in there somehow. Holy smokes. Well, I have to solder in one end and then run a wire to it. Oh, wait a minute, wait. One end is grounded. Why would I bother connecting this capacitor to that particular ground point? Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Okay. We can do it with this. Okay, so if you look in the back there, you'll see up against the bottom of the chassis two shielded wires with a blob of solder. It's about center screen right now. That blob of solder oh, wait a minute. I'm seeing this wrong. You know what? I am seeing this wrong. Okay. Well, good thing I did that, because I got it all wrong. Okay. So what I thought was a wire going down to the solder point on the shields of the other wire is actually the center conductor of the shielded cable itself heading down there. So that means that that capacitor is connected, you know, it's probably conducting the signal itself, the audio signal, I might even guess. Only a wild guess though. So it's definitely involved in signal conduction. Neither end is grounded. Not helping me much, but so it must go between those two terminal points. And I should probably attach an extension wire to the capacitor before I try sticking it in there. That sounds like a good idea. Better idea would be to have a proper capacitor like this yellow one with these long leads. You can always get it into place. The short leaded ones presenting me with lots of headaches. So I'll make that little extended wire thing.